In the mainstream autism culture, it's no longer acceptable to describe an individual as higher functioning or lower functioning, because people have been led to believe these terms are offensive. I asked a friend who has more experience with autism culture whether there are alternate terms used to describe functioning levels, and there aren't any to speak of. I was diagnosed years ago with Asperger's syndrome, long before Asperger's was removed from the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, in 2013. I've always disagreed with the decision to remove it, as it was the most effective way to indicate the specific nature of my disorder. In addition, there are unique traits of Asperger's that are less typical elsewhere on the spectrum, and these traits aren't specifically recognized with the elimination of the Asperger's diagnosis. This change, combined with the fact that describing different levels of functioning is considered unacceptable, has left no way to verbally differentiate between a person like myself and a person who has no ability to cope with loud noises and becomes aggressive if someone touches them. This person is simply on the spectrum, and I am simply on the spectrum. We have an entirely different set of characteristics, yet there's no acceptable way to refer to our disorder specifically enough to help people understand us and determine how to interact with us. This is actually a socialistic approach to autism. For comparison, we'll take a look at the socialistic approach to grading students in school. Let's say Johnny spends hours studying the night before a test and receives an A, while Billy comes home and plays Call of Duty all evening until it's too late to study and ends up getting a D. Since their test performance is a direct result of the effort they put in, Johnny's commitment is reinforced by the A he receives, and he is likely to continue to study hard for tests. When Billy sees the D on his paper, it may serve as a wake-up call, and there's a possibility he'll spend more time studying in the future. But let's say that before the next test, the teacher decides it's not fair that some students perform well on tests while others do not. So she decides to give every student a B. Johnny is disappointed to see the B after he was up half the night studying. Billy, who spent more time studying for this test to avoid another D, is pleased to see that he got a B. Then the students compare grades and realize they were all given the same grade. As a result, Johnny's effort declines, as he now feels his hard work isn't paying off. Billy's renewed effort declines as well, as he realizes he can sail through without studying. Before long, none of the students feel any incentive to put in the effort, and the whole ship sinks. When this approach is applied to autism, the blanket terminology can cause those with a more severe case of autism to falsely view themselves as relatively normal, which can hinder attempts at self-improvement. It can cause those with Asperger's, or those who are milder on the spectrum like myself, to appear to overstate their disorder, as people tend to view autism as a more severe disability than what they would observe when interacting with someone like me. In fact, the autism label is likely a factor in the prevalence of people with Asperger's who strive to be more autistic in order to fulfill this role, thus further limiting their own self-potential. And this is all because the most influential people in the autism movement, the people who should be on the forefront of promoting self-advocacy and self-improvement, are instead promoting sensationalism and social equity.